In this video, I'm going to share with you a 2-step practice that will completely transform your life. So I'm going to share the practice with you, and then I will explain why and how this works. So the practice is, the first step is you want to learn to become aware of your emotional state as you go about your day. And the second step is learning how to shift your emotional state. Now, this is because your emotions play a really big part in creating your reality and all your experiences. Now, emotion stands for energy in motion. And so the emotions you feel, that is the frequency that you are vibrating on. So for example, if you feel negative emotions like fear, anger, shame, guilt, if you feel these emotions, that is the frequency you're tuned into. And by the laws of the universe, law of vibration and law of attraction, whatever frequency you're tuned into is a reflection you get back in your reality. So if you're constantly feeling these negative emotions, you're going to keep creating a reality with negative experiences. And so this is why we want to learn to become aware of our emotional state as we go about our day. Now, this is also because your emotional state is controlled by your subconscious programming. So the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act are all unconscious, habitual programs. So your mind's like a computer that just runs on these programs, and you spend most of the day just running on autopilot. So your emotional state is also an unconscious program that is just running on autopilot. And again, that's what's contributing to creating the reality and all your experiences. And so if you want to create a more positive reality with more positive experiences, this is why I recommend applying this 2-step practice. So because we spend most of the day on autopilot, this is why the first step is learning to become aware of your emotional state. And so what I recommend doing for this is just having little check-ins throughout the day. So it could be when you first wake up in the morning, check in with yourself, check in with your body. How do you feel? What's your emotions? Are they positive or negative? And then maybe, you go to work, and then on your morning break, you check in with your emotional state again. And then on your lunch break, you check in with yourself again. So you get the idea. You have little check-ins throughout your day, so you can check in with how you're feeling, what your emotions are. And then the second step is learning to shift your emotions. So if you're checking in with yourself and you find yourself always feeling a negative emotion, then that's when you want to learn how to shift yourself out of feeling negative and feeling more positive. And through practice and repetition, by doing this, you want to do this every day. You want to apply this practice every day. And by constantly checking in with your emotional state and then constantly shifting yourself from feeling negative to positive through consistency and repetition, over time, it will lead you to naturally feel positive. And when you naturally start feeling more positive, you'll naturally just start attracting in more positive experiences. And so I'm going to give some number of different ways that you can shift your emotional state, and I recommend just to try out different ways and then just find what works for you, because we're all unique, we're all different. Something might work for me, it may not work for you, so you just play around with it and try out different things. So the first thing I recommend doing is shifting your perspective. Change the way you look at things. It was Dr. Wayne Dyer who said, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So by shifting your perspective, let's say you have a negative perspective on something's causing these negative emotions. You shift your perspective to look for the positive, and you shift it to a positive perspective. When you shift your perspective, you shift your emotional state. And you can shift your perspective by using what's called the reframe technique. Now, if you watch my videos, you would have probably heard me talk about this before. But what the reframe technique is where you just simply reframe things. You change the meaning that you give things, because everything in life is neutral. There is no built-in meaning. It is you who gives things meaning. And so You may give something a negative meaning, therefore it's going to make you feel a negative emotion. But when you revisit it and you change the meaning from a negative one to a positive one, it shifts your perspective, and therefore it shifts your emotional state so you'll feel more positive. Now, the second thing I recommend doing is meditation. And I actually recommend meditating every day, like starting up a daily practice. Now, meditation is great for shifting your emotional state because as you go into a meditative state, as you close your eyes, you're disconnecting from the external environment. Your neocortex will start dropping your brainwaves, and you want to drop into theta brainwave. So when you drop into theta brainwave, that is when the ego, monkey brain, chatter brain goes quiet. So you've got no thoughts. It's just quiet. You've dropped from your head and you've dropped into your heart. And then once you're in that state, this is when you can tap into more elevated emotions like love, joy, peace, gratitude. And then when you come out of the meditation, your ego, monkey, chatter brain will stay quiet. You know, that's the chatter brain that has all that self-doubt and negative inner critic. That's how you keep it quiet for the rest of the day. And then you will still be tuned into these elevated emotions. So this is why meditation is a powerful way to reprogram your subconscious mind and change your emotional program. Now, the third tip I give you is to change your physiological state. So I learned this from Tony Robbins. He talks about how just by changing your body can change your emotional state. So if you're like feeling depressed or sad, normally you'd have your head down, shoulders slumped over. And as long as you keep your body in that position, you're going to continue to feel that depression. So he's basically saying you start shifting your body, and he talks about standing in a Superman or Wonder Woman stance with your hands on your hips because it's a very powerful stance. And you stand like this for 2 minutes with a smile on your face. And it's backed by science that it does boost your mood and decrease your cortisol levels. So something as simple as that can change your emotional state, but also changing your physiological state could be doing things like exercise, just getting up and moving the body in some type of way. So that's a great way to shift your emotional state. Now, the fourth tip I'm going to give you is just consume positive content. Get positivity in your eyes and your ears. And this is because energy is contagious. What you consume is going to affect you. So if you're consuming negativity, it's going to make you think and feel negative, right? So we want to consume positivity to help us feel more positive and think more positively. So that's another great way to shift your emotional state. Now, the fifth tip I have for you is gratitude. Gratitude is another super powerful way to change your state, because what gratitude does is it gets you to shift your perspective from focusing on the lack in your life and what's not working to the blessings that you do have. And as you shift your perspective like that, again, it's going to shift your emotional state. And you can do what's called a gratitude rant. This is where you just start rattling off a whole bunch of things that you're grateful for. You know, and it's the simple stuff that we overlook as well. Like, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful I have clothes to wear. I'm grateful I have food in my cupboard. I'm grateful I have clean water. And you just start rambling off all these things you're grateful for, and boom, you're going to shift your emotional state. Now, another great tip I have for you is journaling. I've in the last year or so gotten more into journaling, and I realized how much better I felt after having a journaling session. So if you feel negative, you think negative, you want it out of your system, you just journal it onto paper. It's a great way to get it out. And once you put it onto paper, you feel better, and then you can just walk away from it. So I recommend giving that a go as well. I've literally walked away from a journaling session feeling like I just had a free therapy session. So it really does make a difference and can really change your emotional state. And the last tip I'm going to give you is something as simple as going out in nature. Just getting out of the house, getting out of the city, and just spending some time in nature. Nature always, it has this calming feeling about it, right? And so just by being in nature, it's like that calmness rubs off on you. It reduces your stress. It improves your mood. So it has all these positive effects on us, and just having a break away from things as well can just be good for our mind and body. So just spending some time in nature, connected to Mother Earth, will also change your emotional state. So I hope you like this video, guys. I hope that you are going to apply this practice, and if you are, let me know in the comment section, because I would love to know. And I know that this will really transform your life, because your emotions are so important, more important than your thoughts. And so as long as you practice this and you're keeping yourself feeling positive, you will start noticing shifts in your reality where you experience more positive, well, you have more positive experiences coming in. And if you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification. Give me a thumbs up if you got some sort of value out of this video, so that I can know that this is a good sort of content to make. And hope you have an awesome day.